But if the referendum fails, then you don't have the other original
That's-
$1,600,000 a year.
Right, that's that detraction, that's the 1185.
So if the referendum fails, you lose not just the 750,000 increase, the school district will actually lose 2.35 million.
No.
Or the 1.6 that they
Right,
currently have.
exactly.
So they will not only not have the increase, but they will also lose 1.6 million.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's how much we lose in our revenue limit. Now, the Spooner School District has a reasonably healthy fund balance. A fund balance is sometimes thought of by people as money in the bank. It's not. It's money that we use to operate on throughout the year. Since the Spooner schools are a low-aided district, we get a little bit of money in when the state aids come, which is 3 times a year, but it's not a significant amount of money. The most of our money comes in when the tax money comes in. So we'll get most of our money in February and in August or early September. But we need funds to carry us from February through August, early September. And so we operate down to if you take a look at our cash flow, our high cash flow number might be 5 million, but our low cash flow number, this year will probably be around 300,000 to 500,000. Not this year. Well, okay. Yeah. I think we'll make it through this year without borrowing. But in June and July, we have to borrow. That's the way our cash flow goes. So we don't have, even though it says our fund balance is $5 million, we don't have that much in the bank. It's just the way the funding is. But we said when we ran the last referendum, for 4 years, we need to spend an average of $1.6 million above the revenue limit. We'd like to underspend the first couple of years and overspend the last couple of years, so we'd dollar average it out. And we'd still be cutting $150,000 out of the budget every year. And so we did make cuts, and we did underspend the first couple of years, and even pretty close to the third year, overspending a little bit this year, so we do have some carryover. So, what I asked Mike to do when he projected out the next 4 years was spread that carryover out the next 4 years and see what we need to keep things going with the programs that we have going now, still making cuts of $150,000 a year. And that's where we came up with the 2.35 million number. If a referendum doesn't pass, then what happens? Well, what happens is we've still got some carryover, so we don't have to drop, clear to the bottom. The board could say, Don, we don't want you to make $2 million worth of cuts this year. We want you to spend down the remainder of that past referendum money and make the cuts that you have to make, which should probably be in the area of $500,000 worth of cuts that you'd have to make. And that's the decision that they could make. Yes, sir.
How much does it cost to run a referendum?
The referendum comes from the general fund. If there is another anything on the ballot, the cost is minimal. But I'm not exactly sure what the cost to run a referendum is. So we'll have to pay for poll workers, clerks, things like that, ballots.
If the referendum does not pass, do you plan on running another referendum based on past history of the district?
That decision, that's a board decision, but hasn't been discussed to my knowledge.
I've been going to all these meetings, and that hasn't really been discussed.
Yes, sir.
In trying to think about us compared to the neighboring districts, using the sporting programs as an example, I can infer from that you seem to think that they're in a lot better shape than Spooner is. Is there a reason for that, or are they likely to be in the Spooner shape in 2-3 years?
Okay, the question was, based on what I mentioned about sports, and if we have to cut them out, or if we decide to cut them out, they go to other places. Based on that, are neighboring districts in better shape than we are, or might they be where we are in a couple of years? Shell Lake next year will be in the last year of a 5-year referendum. They ran their referendum at the same time we ran ours 4 years ago. We ran ours for 4 years, they ran theirs for 5. They're not in any better shape than we are after that referendum goes off. Hayward will be cutting about $750,000 out of their budget next year. Isn't that right, Bob? Somewhere in that neighborhood. Rice Lake's a similar situation. Area districts are in similar situations. But it's almost a situation where the last district that holds on to stuff has the best chance of getting people in.
Yes. Of your building expense, you mentioned that you spent some of the overages like on the middle school for roofs and things like that. Of that money, how much is left?
Under 50,000. He asked how much is left of that building money that we have for the facilities. Mike, is there a timeline that we have to spend that in, or can we carry that on? Faria? We can carry that on. We can carry that out and use that for whatever we need to in the future too, at the middle school and high school. Yes, sir.
How much, what is the state aid per pupil?
For us, the state aid per pupil is about $1,200 per pupil.
Oh, I thought it was 6,500.
Well, the state, the state law used to be that they would pay for 2/3 of the cost of educating students in Wisconsin. That's on average. Some districts get a lot of aid, some districts get very little aid, some districts get absolutely no aid. An example would be the Birchwood School District is an unaided school district because their property value per pupil is just so high. But some districts get 80 or 90% state aid. So they average it out statewide. And obviously, if you have some big districts that get more than 2/3, it takes a lot of little districts that get less than 2/3 to make up for that. Actually, if it were a true equalizing formula, a school district like Birchwood or potentially someday even Spooner would be paying money into the state to be distributed to other districts instead of getting any aid at all. It would be an ugly situation if that happened, but that's a potential. The state law, though, was amended a few years back. They don't actually pay 2/3 of the cost of educating students in Wisconsin anymore. That's down to 63 or 64% of the cost of educating kids.
Oh my, I read in the paper where it said that if we lose students, we lose about $6,500. That's what I was
Oh, okay.
referring to.
That's open enrollment. If a student open enrolls from Spooner into another district, or if a student open enrolls from another district into Spooner, about $6,500 follows that student.
Okay, so if you take the $2.35 million referendum and look at how many students, how much money you get for coming or going, or students enrolling in or out, we'd have to gain 360 students in order to make up the $2.35 million referendum.